Today's lesson is going to complete the objective that says I can subtract a fraction from a whole number. Now, here's a whole number of 1, and I'm going to be trying to take 2/3 from 1. Well, a lot of people might say to me, well, Miss Lewis, how can we do this? 1 is a whole number and 2/3 is a fraction. So in order for us to do that, we will have to now convert or change our whole number so it looks like a fraction. Well, how do we change that whole number so it looks like a fraction? In order for us to complete that whole, we've got to look at the denominator. What is the denominator? It's thirds. That means it has 3 parts. In order for me to get a whole, I will have to go ahead and shade everything that is in the fraction model. Now, what did I do? I shaded 3 out of 3 pieces. So now I changed my whole number using the model into a fraction. Now that I've done that, I can go ahead and subtract because now I have 2 fractions. This fraction being called 3/3 minus 2/3. And because they have the same units, all I'm looking at are my numbers. So now I will have 3 minus 2, which is 1. And my unit will be considered thirds. How will I write 1/3 as a fraction? That will be 1/3. So 1 minus 2/3, I have to change my whole number to a fraction. I drew my model to the side to know what my fraction should look like. And when I did that, I had 3/3 minus 2/3. Now I'll name them. This means 3/3 minus 2/3. Because the units are the same, I'll just identify the numbers. 3 minus 2 is 1. And I kept my unit, which is thirds. And what does 1/3 look like? It's going to be 1/3. So 1 whole minus 2/3 is 1/3. Let's try another one. So here we have 1 minus 6/7. In order for me to subtract this, I will have to change or convert my 1 whole into a fraction. How do I do that? I'm going to go ahead and model my whole. Well, I know that the unit that we're talking about here is 7s. So over on this side, I'm going to go ahead and draw my 7s. And because I wanted to shade 1 whole, I'm going to go ahead and shade everything in this 7s. Now, if I wanted to write this as a fraction, again, my denominator or my unit is 7s, and I shaded all 7. So this now becomes 7/7 minus 6/7. How will I name that? Just as how I named my first one, I'll name it 7/7 minus 6/7. And again, I'll keep my units and I'll just look at my numbers. 7 minus 6 is 1. And I'm keeping my unit of 7s. Thus, my answer becoming 1/7. So 1 minus 6/7 is 1/7.